What's going on, everybody? Matt Worthington here. Welcome back to my channel where I talk about all things apartment locating, side hustles, motivation, making money, so on and so forth. But today I have a video in relation to apartment locating, and it's all about the ugly side of apartment locating, the things that they don't tell you, the things that I haven't talked about. There's a lot of people out there that are talking about apartment locating, like Austin Davis and Pierre, and obviously it's all good stuff, but like anything, there's definitely a downside, there's definitely a negative side. And I had someone by the name of, LEESA Daniels, and she reached out and said, "I'm studying for my real estate license right now. You and another guy, Austin Davis, make it seem really worth it. What do you think the honest bad side is? Can you make a video about it?" So LEESA Daniels, thank you so much for commenting and letting me know what sort of content that you're looking for. I'm sure there's other stuff that you guys might want or need out there. So whatever questions you want answered, please just comment in the comments below, and I'll do my best to address those questions to help you guys and hopefully bring a little bit more value. With that said, if you do get some good value and information from these videos, please like, subscribe, drop the little pin thing so you get a notification whenever I make a video, the bell. I'd appreciate that. It helps me a little bit, but ultimately I'm here to help y'all. So without further ado, let's get into the video. I try to do these things in one take, so if I start kind of getting caught up over my words and stutter a couple times, I'm sorry, but I want this to be organic, and I don't want to stop a bunch of times and have to cut things up. I want to flow, and I want it to go off the top so everything is authentic, and it's just pure organic content. So the first thing that I think is a negative side, and I'm going to try to list about 10, but the first thing is not every apartment works with apartment locators. So obviously, as an apartment locator, our fiduciary duty is to have the interest of the client, the highest interest of the client in mind. So that means if we use a smart apartment data and we find a list of 15 apartments in the Austin area, and 10 of them work with locators and the other 5 don't work with locators, and they like one of the other 5 that don't work with locators, then we have to, as a real estate agent, send them to that apartment knowing that we're not going to get paid at all. Obviously that stinks, but we have to put our client's best interest at hand, and we have to have their best interest at mind, and that's what we have to act on. So unfortunately, that's just how it goes. Not every apartment works with locators. And even at that, some apartments don't pay locators as much as others. So, for example, there was a client of mine that was looking at an apartment called Laurel, and Laurel pays 125%. Well, they also were looking at a place called Saltillo, Residences of Saltillo here in Austin, and that one only paid 75%. Obviously, I want my client to go with the one that pays 125%, but she went and signed at the one that paid 75%. Regardless, I made a pretty penny on that, but ultimately, it would have been nicer if she went with the 125%, but that's just how it goes sometimes, guys. So that's number one. Number 2, apartments can pay anywhere between 30 and 90 days to pay you, sometimes more. So that means sometimes it'll take you 3-4 months to get your paycheck. And that is also from the point that they move in. So it's not when they sign their lease, it's not when you submit the invoice, it's from the day that they move in. So 30 to 90 days from the day they move in is when you'll start to expect to get your check. So again, like sometimes it just takes a little while to get your money, and it stinks, but if you're patient, then it's all right. So that's the second thing. The third thing, you need to follow a strict process, guys. So what you need to realize is whenever you're apartment locating, you need to get the information of that client as soon as possible and write it down on a guest card. And a guest card kind of entails the name, the phone number, the email, what part of this, Austin they want to be in, how big of a unit they want, if they have pets, if they have any prior convictions, misdemeanors, felonies. You need to have all that information and you need to put it on a guest card. And if anybody needs a guest card template, please reach out to me. I'm happy to share one with you. But after you get that guest card, you need to call the apartment complex and say that you're the locator, you're the one helping them, and you need to ask them what a good email is to send that guest card to. And then you send them the guest card so that the leasing agent can see that you're the one that's helping the client find a spot at their apartment complex. Now, if your client calls them themselves, then what they do is they put that information in the system themselves, the leasing agent does, and it cuts out the apartment locator. So you need to make sure that you fill out the guest card, you call on behalf of the client yourself, you send them the email yourself so that they can get in the system that you're the person working with them so that you can get credit. It sucks that the process has to be that tedious and you have to follow these rules, but that's just how it works. And then after that, whenever it does come to the point in time that the client is going to fill out the application, you need to make sure that your client puts your name down on the application. There have been numerous times where I've worked with a client and at the very end, they just forget to put my name on the application, or they don't look out for the spot that says who referred you, or are you working with an agent slash real estate agent slash apartment locator, and they just bypass that and just submit the application. Well, what happens? They look at that application and it shows that there wasn't, that your client didn't work with an apartment locator, and it's very difficult to get paid. Now, going back to the point with the guest card, if you sent in that guest card and you followed the steps how you should have, then at least you have some sort of physical proof to show the apartment complex that you were the one helping them from the jump. Assuming that the application is filled out about a week later and you put that guest card a week before, then it gives something for the leasing agent to go off of whenever trying to put the pieces of the puzzle back together if your client forgot to put you on the application. So, sometimes they'll work with you, and usually they will, as long as you had that guest card in there prior to the application being submitted. But still, it just makes things so much easier if your client is very diligent on putting your name on the application before they submit it. So that's number 3. You have to follow a strict process. Number 4, it just goes off of point 3. I guess I already addressed this, but if your client doesn't put your name on the application, you won't get paid. Again, sometimes there's ways around it. As long as you have that guest card in, you should be fine. But anyway, number 5, okay? So clients will ghost you. And that's just reality. You do all this work, you come up with a list, you send it to them, and clients will still ghost you. It happens to me all the time. It happens to any real estate agent, any locator. That's just the name of the game. You just got to realize it's all a numbers game, okay? The more leads you get, the more clients you work with, the more closes you're going to get. Who cares if out of 100 leads, 20 people ghost you? I mean, you still have 80 leads and clients to work with and a chance to make money off of them by finding them their dream apartment. Also, some people just don't have a high enough budget, especially here in Austin. That's been very difficult because prices keep going up and it's hard for people to meet that minimum qualification standard for income. You got to make 3 times the monthly rent. And if you think about that, like, you could be making great money, $60,000 a year, and or even $45,000 a year, and that still means you can't find something over $1,500 a month. $1,500 times 3 is $4,500. $4,500 times 12, like $52,000 a year. Like, if you're making $45,000, which is what a lot of people start at, especially out of college, at least, you can't find something over $1,500 a month. And the average rent in Austin right now for 1 bed, 1 bath is $1,549 a month. So you're looking at for places that are below average. You know, you might not be able to live in those spots that you really like, but that's just how it is. And those are conversations that we have to have with our clients. So it's very difficult. The only way to get around that is if you have a co-signer that makes 5 times the monthly rent. Well, if you do that math, and now we're looking at like $70,000 a year. And if you don't know someone who makes over $70,000 a year that is willing to sign on your behalf, well, then you're kind of shit out of luck, and that stinks, right? So that's another problem that we have to deal with and kind of get around as apartment locators. So number 6, apartments go off of a 60-day notice. So if someone, so say it's January right now or February, and someone wants a spot in July, you won't know if that apartment has any availability until 60 days from July 1st. So that means if someone is asking you to help them find an apartment in February, you have to tell them, hey, I won't know if there's any availability until May 1st, which is 60 days from July 1st. Well, that means all of February, all of March, and all of April, there is nothing really you can do other than following up and checking in on them and saying, hey, you know, May 1st is right around the corner. That's what you should do. But oftentimes, if it's not a hot lead, as apartment locators, you want to spend your time elsewhere, right? You want to spend your time with those clients that are ready to move. They're ready to find a spot in 2 weeks, you know, and they're on the hunt. They're on the prowl. And if your client is looking for something that's 90, 120, 150 days away, then you kind of forget about them. And the thing that stinks is whenever May 1st does come up, oftentimes you forget about this client. So as apartment locators, it's good to put in a reminder on your calendar to follow up with the client that is looking to move July 1st. Follow up with them first thing May 1st, that you can get on the ball since the 60-day notice period finally falls within that time frame. Number 7, if you send a list of apartments that your client doesn't like, oftentimes they'll just ghost you. If nothing on that list is something that they fancy, they'll just stop talking to you. And that stinks, you know, because you do all this work, and oftentimes they just go and ask another locator to find them a list themselves. And 9 out of 10 times that locator is going to send them the same list and not going to have any luck, you know. But it stinks that some clients just kind of ghost you like that. But that's reality, something we have to deal with. And I actually have a cool video. I think it's the last one I posted for any apartment locator that wants to know how to get around clients ghosting you. Go check out that video. I'm probably not going to remember to put it in the bio or in the link below. Just find it on my channel. All right, so the next thing is number 8. So some people just really stink at replying, and you don't know if it's because they're ghosting you or because they're just actually busy. And sometimes, like, I overstep my boundaries in the sense that if someone's not replying, I'll follow up with them again in like 3-4 hours. And then they're like, oh my, like, this real estate guy is like pushy, you know? So you got to be careful that you're not following up too much. There's definitely a science to it, because if you're following up too much, then you're going to come off as pushy, and then it's naturally going to push that client away, and they're not going to want to work with you because you're just always on their butt, right? So you just got to be careful about that. You just got to be patient. If someone doesn't reply right away, then give it a day, maybe 2 days. Try not to do more than 2 days, but definitely give it like a day or so before you respond again. So number 9, as a real estate agent, I think anybody can attest to this. You kind of work around the clock, right? So it's just part of the game. A lot of people work from 9 to 5. So the time that they're really looking at apartments or looking at houses is after 5 o'clock, after they get off their job, which means you're working from 5 o'clock till 10 o'clock, you know, talking to these clients, texting them, sending them lists, hopping on calls with them. And then you also run into some of those clients that don't work 9 to 5. So you have people that work, that want to talk to you before their 9 to 5. So, you're just talking to people all throughout the day. You kind of have to make yourself available all the time. That can definitely be a downside, especially for people like myself who just do apartment locating on the side. Like, I have a full-time job, right? I have a 9 to 5, and I just do this apartment locating on the side. So if someone wants to go tour an apartment at 2 o'clock on a Tuesday, it's hard for me to get around to do that because I have a job already that I have to tend to. So that can be something that's tricky for anybody that wants to get into real estate or apartment locating. Is just the flexibility. You always have to be available. You always have to be accessible. You always have to be on your phone and responding to your clients. And if you don't like that, then apartment locating is probably not for you. Number 10. So for any of you that know about apartment locating, there is a software that you use called smartapartmentdata.com. Okay, so Smart Apartment Data is a database that gives you access to all the apartment complexes in Austin, or Houston or Dallas or wherever you live, right? I think it's nationwide. And on Smart Apartment Data, it allows you to not only see the apartment complexes, but it shows you the floor plans, it shows you pictures, it shows you the commission that they pay the locators, it shows if there's availability. It has everything you could possibly need. Well, there's one downside. It is not always up to date. And oftentimes you'll go on there, you'll see that an apartment pays maybe 100% commission, only to find out that they actually pay just 50%. And you don't know that because you're trusting that Smart Apartment Data has all the accurate information. So it's always good to call the apartment complexes first, talk to them, talk to the leasing agents, talk to the property manager to make sure that all that information is accurate. If not, you're sending clients to places that might not even pay a commission at all, even though on Smart Apartment Data it shows that they pay 7,500, 125, 150%. And then number 11, so send or escort basis. Not every apartment pays 100% for send or escort. Sometimes they just pay 100% escort and 50% send because they want you to put in a little work and they want you to show up with the client. So you need to make sure you're aware of that. You need to make sure to call the apartment complexes ahead of time to make sure that the commission splits are correct, the availability is correct, the stuff you see online is correct. And that's another downside. And then lastly, kind of piggybacking on the last 2 points, sometimes it's just hard getting a hold of the apartment complexes. Like, there's times where I'll call an apartment complex 3, 4, 5 times before I finally get through to someone. And if I do get through to someone, it might be the off-site property management company, not even the on-site leasing team. And they'll say, hey, we're not the actual leasing team. We can't give you up-to-date information, but we can leave a message. Well, as you probably guessed it, you leave a message, but then they never call you back. So that's frustrating. The only recommendation I have for that is just keep pounding the phone, keep pounding the phone, keep pounding the phone. Sooner or later, they'll pick up. You'll get in touch with the person you need. And that's it. So guys, this video went a little bit longer than I would have liked. I was kind of rambling here. I got my evening coffee right next to me. So I'm just kind of going off the top, and sorry if I gave you too much, but nevertheless, I appreciate you guys watching this video. The downsides of apartment locating are all here. I don't think I really missed anything. If I did, of course, I'll make another video at some point to add that in. But overall, apartment locating is a great side hustle. You can do it full time and you can make $100,000 easily, right? Probably 200, 300, 400. I think Pierre makes like $300,000, $250,000 a year. For me, I just like doing it on the side because I enjoy my full-time job. It pays me well. I get benefits and a lot of flexibility, and the people I work with and the team I work with is wonderful. But as a side job or even as a full-time job, you can make a lot of money apartment locating. It doesn't take a lot of effort. It doesn't take a lot of energy and time. You just have to get your systems down right. And once you get your systems down and you know how to work with clients, you know how to work with leasing agents, and you know how to submit invoices, then it's a piece of cake. So with that said, if there's anything I can do to help you guys get to where you want to go, help you guys make $100,000 or more apartment locating, I'm here to help. I'm here to answer questions. If you did like this video, again, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe. Please leave a comment below if there's anything else you want me to add or any other questions you have or videos you want me to make. Again, thank you so much to Lisa Daniels for that comment. You know, I made this video for you specifically. I know there's other people out there that have questions as well, so don't hesitate to reach out. My phone number is 512-584-7225. My Instagram is @Matt_Worthington. My other Instagram is @TopTierLocating. And I just recently started a podcast. It's riser.podcast. And that's it. Those are my plugs. That's all I got to say, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hope y'all have a wonderful week and go make some money. Peace.